I wanted to have a way to monitor air fuel ratio and some of the other things within Speeduino and within the ECU without having to add like a gauge pod or gauge cluster or something. So I'm gonna turn the camera around here and I'm gonna show you what I've done. Please forgive how dirty the car is, but here's the first step. This hole is where the HVAC controls were, and the radio is where it has always been. I took the HVAC controls and moved them down under the radio, as you can see, and everything's kind of, you know, it's pretty snug in there. What I'm doing is taking a Raspberry Pi 5 and I'm gonna connect it to the Speeduino, so it will boot up into Tunerstudio into dash mode automatically when I start the car. And that will pull up some gauges on a screen, which I have installed right there. There's the whole look. And I think it looks pretty good. I've already designed a gauge cluster layout to match the factory gauges. I think it's gonna look pretty stocky, OEM plus maybe, but yeah, I think that looks pretty great. I'm excited about it. And let me pull this back off and I can show you guys the back here. Okay, here's what I ended up doing. Putting it down here wasn't gonna work because it was gonna interfere with the dash mount there, so I just put a whole bunch of double-sided tape underneath it to lift it up off here a little bit, and hopefully they'll hold it good enough for right now. HDMI, it's gonna go in right there, and we need power. Ugh, let me put the camera down. I need two hands. Oh, I love how clean that looks. If you were to start the car and then plug the tuning cable up to your laptop, it's going to shut the engine off, and I can't have that. I want to have the Raspberry Pi plugged in at all times so I can actually tune from the screen if I need to. When I go to crank, it's going to connect and then disconnect and then connect, and it's going to not let the car crank properly. So I have to have a battery backup. All right, check this out. So there's the Raspberry Pi, right? There's the UPS hat for the Raspberry Pi, and it takes 4 18650s. So I read in the instructions for this online that you cannot use circuit protected 18650s. What you need is flat top non-circuit protected 18650s, aka vape batteries. So I went to the vape shop and got 2 packs of these. So I'm gonna pop these in here real quick, and they come in a nice little case. Don't put these in backwards because you're gonna be real sad if you do. Positive side is this side, negative side is that side. So we're gonna go negative side in here. And just like magic, there we go, they're all in there. Now I could turn the Raspberry Pi on with just these batteries using that little button, and I know that because I just accidentally did it. What I need to happen is when 12 volts is applied to that port right there, that 12 volt port, I need Pi to come on. And when I turn the key off, 12 volts is no longer supplied here. I need it to run a timer for, I don't know, maybe a minute in case I have to turn the car off, turn it back on before it runs a shutdown sequence for the Pi. I may end up having to write a script or something, but for right now, I'm gonna get this up and working so I can see the gauges working on the Speeduino. You see, I turned the key off, took the keys out, and Pi still booted up. We're still hooked up to the Speeduino. Not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. I looked into it a little bit, but not enough. Probably gonna be pretty simple, I hope. If not, I'm just gonna have to hit the power button. Hit this little button right here, and then it'll pop up, shut down, reboot, log out. And if I just click it again, it just turns the Pi off. If I hold it down for 10 seconds, it shuts everything off. I need to read more in the manual of this thing and figure out what all the functions are. You probably won't see any of this, but I'm gonna try to solder this wire into the back of this plug for the cigarette outlet. phone died yesterday, but as you can see, gauges are working and there's no wires just hanging out anywhere. Everything's tucked away and mounted somewhat properly. Excuse the mess of stuff in the floor. Open the glove box. See a little Raspberry Pi in there. Just like everything else, it's double-sided tape down. I need a much better solution for this. I really just did that to see if I could drive around with it for a little bit. It works, it doesn't slide around, that was a big thing. Probably will get a right angle one of these if I can find one. That's taking up the rest of the glove box. It's actually working out okay. So there's one thing I need to do that I haven't done yet, and that is make it where it auto boots into Tunerstudio and comes up full-size gauge mode. Now I have Tunerstudio set where it will come up into gauge mode. Tunerstudio.8sh. It will automatically load my last project and then go into full-size gauge mode. Perfect. It's exactly what I want it to do. But it does not do that on Raspberry Pi startup. That's what I'm going to try to figure out now. This was a massive pain in the ass and took me several hours, and when I finally figured it out, it wasn't actually all that difficult. Let me just show you that it works. Boom, there it is. Takes a while to start up, but that's okay. I can deal with that. It still starts up. So what I had to do is create a folder in the home/pi5/.config directory called AutoStart. Within AutoStart, I had to create a tunerstudio.desktop text file. So it's tunerstudio.desktop. In that file, there's a list of it. It says desktop entry. I'll screenshot it. I'll put the code in the link to what mine was. But you basically create a .desktop file, which is easy to find how to do this online. But all of the tutorials for how to auto start a program are for older versions of the Pi, older versions of Raspberry Pi OS, and they're all obsolete now if you're using the most up-to-date version. So this was super hard and confusing for me to figure out because I kept editing files that I didn't need to edit that aren't being used. It wasn't auto-starting. It wasn't working. Once I figured out that this is how you have to do it now, it became super simple. But I will put my code either floating around here somewhere or in the description. Either way, you're going to see it. So that if you're trying to do this, you don't get stuck for... I mean, I think I've been doing this for 3 hours now. I'm gonna get you guys goods. Everything's functional. What I need to do is monitor the 12-volt input, and when that 12-volt input is turned off, to set a countdown timer to check for 12 volts again. And at that point, if 12 volts isn't found or isn't seen, then to run the shutdown process. If 12 volts is seen, start another countdown timer, basically. So just keeping in a loop of counting down. For right now, I'm just turning it off with the button, which works just fine. I have to open my glove box every time I turn the car off. Not ideal, but it's okay. It's working. The gauges work, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I hope you guys like the way they look. I like the way it looks. It's pretty clean. If this video was helpful to you or entertaining to you or anything, please just leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.